And I'm back. So exactly how can we ensure that we are successful in this transition from a more admin related HR management system to a more strategic HR management system? So the very first thing that we have to understand is that we have to ensure that the HR department is seen not as an administrator, but as a strategic contributor to the organization's bottom line. We have to differentiate and ensure that we partner up and gain the trust of both line management and top management, as opposed to just being looked at as executors. And remember that in order for us to gain this trust, it's a lot more about cost cutting and being efficient at our job. It's being able to provide valuable strategic contributions to or within the strategic planning phase. So tactical HR is what we can understand more as the admin side of HR. This is the baseline administration of people and data, for example, such as benefits administration, compensation and rewards, and keeping up employee records, reporting regarding equality or affirmative action, etc., developing policies and regulations, etc. As opposed to strategic HR. What is strategic HR all about? Well, it's about stimulating dialogue among the top tier of management to ensure and re-examine that the business strategy is properly aligned, clear, and appropriate with our HR resources, with our human resources, with our workforce. It's also important that we are able, as human resource managers, we are able to align the reward and compensation systems across the entire organization to ensure that they are consistent in encouraging the customers to the customer's need to be constantly or efficiently fulfilled. It's also about redesigning the work process that currently exists to eliminate any aspects that do not add value or that increase cost to the customer. We also have to understand that strategic HR is about developing training solutions to build an organizational capabilities for our employees to be fully capable and support the business strategy that we have planned. And of course, it is also about redesigning aspects of the organizational culture. If there are aspects of the organizational culture or our organization doesn't even have a culture to begin with, they don't have an established culture system or even an established mission or vision statement, then it's part of HR's strategic tasks to ensure that these can be designed correctly. So exactly how can we travel down this road and understand that we are headed towards the right direction? Well, there are key milestones that we can achieve. First, we need to be able to assess whether our organization is ready, willing, and open to change. Then it's important that we can develop a framework and language specific to strategic HR. Then it's important that we are able to understand and communicate to everybody else within the organization what the role of the senior HR leader will be in keeping with the organizational architect that we just saw previously. It's also important, and this is another important milestone that we are going to achieve, to clarify what the role of line management is going to be and to engage top-level management in both creating, designing, and owning the HR strategy. We have to take a holistic view, like I explained before, and it's not just about HR on one hand and marketing on the other hand. It's about bringing this and seeing it all as a whole, the big picture. It's also important to create the HR plan for the organization, clarify the role of both the generalist HR personnel and the specialists HR within the HR department, to design the actual structure of the HR organization, assess and upgrade the talent within the HR department, and of course, recognize and minimize the political landmines that can happen in making the transition to strategic HR. Now, this last milestone doesn't have to do with politics like local government. It has to do with the office politics. We know that there will be change always brings up resistance. There will always be people within the organization that will be resistant to any kind of change. Why? Because it makes them fearful. It makes them doubt whether or not they will still be useful for the organization, et cetera, et cetera. So it's very important that we as HR managers, since we are already skilled in understanding people and understanding what motivates them and understanding what makes them tick, it's important for us to be able to see and assess who within our workforce can actually be one of these people who can actually wreak havoc and become a major force of resistance to transitioning to strategic HR. So what do we need to understand in order for us to become key strategic HR personnel? Well, the first thing is that we need to understand that our HR department is going to have to require a new or complete redesign, a complete upgrade, where we will have to take and assess all of the skills, both hard and soft, that our current HR employees have and compare them with what it is that we need, and then be able to provide training, education, et cetera, in order for them to be either reskilled or to become skilled and knowledgeable in the new ones that they are lacking. Then, of course, it's important for us that we understand that the new business will have to be based on an HR strategy, or that the HR strategy will have to be based on the business issues at hand. Not so much about execution, but about the organization's objectives for that, for example, fiscal year. It's going to be very important for us to be able to manage talent correctly. And remember that we are all as strong as our weakest link. If we lose our top talent, for example, that's going to make a huge impact in an organization. So it's very important that we understand that talent management has to come first. And of course, that we create a dashboard with a number of metrics that will help us to be able to, on a periodic basis or even on a daily basis, understand where we are, what we need to improve, and where we are excelling in terms of our management of strategic HR. So, HR professionalism upgrade. HR managers need to include their business or a business background. They need to have a very good, deep understanding of how businesses run, of business concept, business issues, and both they need to understand internal processes within the company and procedures, as well as external ones. They also need to understand the best practices in the industry. What is our benchmark? And of course, HR needs to be able to ask smart questions and suggest clever business solutions. Now, with the business-driven HR strategy, as I explained before, it has to be directly linked with the business strategy that is in place. And the HR strategy has to be developed based off of that. Strategic HR should include cross-functional teams that have both strategic HR and other departments that are strategic to the organization, so that we can cross-functionally grow and be able to become sustainable in the long run. And then, of course, the HR managers need to be seen as a natural part of the functional project teams within an organization. Now, in terms of talent management, I'll talk about that a little bit more in depth in a minute, but basically, the first thing that we need to do is understand the strategic list of, understand what are those job positions that are strategic to the successful outcome of our organization. And we need to be able to understand and identify those key positions, the people who are there at that moment in time, and see who can be people who can follow in their footsteps, or the succession when those strategic people leave at some point in time, who will be the one most equipped to fill that person's shoes. It also has to do with being able to design the recruitment and staffing process that is going to allow us to be able to attract top level or top talent, not top level management, but top level talent for our organizations, be it the person who is going to be the marketing manager, or be it the receptionist at the front desk. And of course, HR will also have to determine and take a look at those people who are the top talents in our organization and ensure that they are in a job position that is correctly placed for them. Remember that we talked about this previously in other classes, where we saw that there are many people who are not placed in the most suitable job for them. Remember that HR management is about having the right number of people at the right time in the right job, in the right place. So this is exactly what this has to do with. Top talent are usually people who are thinking outside of the box. They are people who are able to face challenges and actually excel in challenging positions, and should be the ones that should be placed in these kind of job positions. And again, about the dashboard, as I was saying, it has to do with creating metrics or KPIs, key performance indicators, that are going to be able to allow us to measure and easily track how good we are doing in terms of implementing our business and HR strategies. So we're going to be able to measure trends, and we're going to be able to understand and measure when problems will be coming up. It's called a dashboard because it's like a dashboard. When we are driving, we can see, well, how much gas do we have in our gas tank? How fast are we riding? Are we driving? Is my engine heating up or not? But there are also warning signs that light up when there are problems that will be happening down the line. Like, for example, if you need an oil change, or if there's something happening with the engine, the check engine light comes on. So these are early warning signs, and that's exactly what a strategic HRM dashboard is. It's coming up with those, with that radar system, and understanding where the warning signs are, and being able to come up with a way to measure them and understand that when we see this measurement, a red flag should go up. And of course, HR needs to also implement a strong HR process management as well. So this brings me to the end of today's session. For next session, I would like you to read these 3 chapters in our Strategic Human Resource Management, A Guide to Action book. Have a great week. Take care. Bye-bye.